ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय।
ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय।
नारायणं नमस्कृत्यं नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरये नष्टप्रायेषु भद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवते उत्तम श्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्ठिकी कृष्णाय वासुदेवाय देवकी नंदनाय च नंदगोपकुमाराय गोविंदाय नमो नमः नमो पंकजनाभाय नमो पंकजमालिने नमो पंकजनेत्राय नमस्ते पंकजांग्रये हे कृष्णा करुणा सिंधो दीनबंधो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कांता राधा कांता नमोस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम राम हरे 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 कृष्णा कृष्णा हरे हरे राम राम हरे श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय, गुरुशिल प्रभुपाद की जय, समवेत गौर भक्तवृंद की जय। इसके पुनः रीडिंग फ्रॉम श्रीमद् भागवतम फर्स्ट कैंटो चैप्टर नंबर 3 वर्स नंबर 15 विद्वान ग्रुप
we'll take it from there. Okay. We'll not stop. తెలుగు క్లాస్ కంటిన్యూస్తుంది. తెలుగు ట్రాన్స్లేషన్ అందులో తెలుగు ఉండేవాళ్ళు మాత్రమే తెలుగు అర్థం చేసుకునేవాళ్ళు మాత్రమే.
रूपम सा जाग्रहे मत्स्यम चक्षुषो ददाति संप्लवे नव्य आरोप्य महिमायम् आपद्वैवस्वतं मनु रूपम सा जाग्रहे मत्स्यम चक्षुषोदादि संप्लवे नव्यारोप्य महिमय्यम् आपद्वैवस्वतं मनु रूपम सा जाग्रहे मत्स्यम चक्षुषोदादि संप्लवे नव्य आरोप्य महिमय्यम् आपद्वैवस्वतं मनु
रूपम सा जगरे मत्स्यम चक्षुषोदादि संप्लवे नवे अर्योपमहिमायं
नव्यारोप्यमहिमयम्
अपद्वैस्वत्यं मन
आपद्वैवस्वतं मनु
यूपं सोऽजाग्रहे मत्स्यं
रूपं सा जागृहे मत्स्यं
चक्षुषोदादिसम्प्रभे
चक्षुषोदादिसम्प्लवे
नवि आरोप्य महिमायं
नव्यारोप्यमहिमयम्
आपद्वैवत्सवं मनुम्
आपद्वैवस्वतं मनु
रूपं सा जागृहे मत्स्यं
रूपं सा जागृहे मत्स्यं
चाक्षुषोदादिसम्प्लवे
चाक्षुषोदादिसम्प्लवे
नाव्यारोप्यमहिमय्यं
नाव्यारोप्यमहिमयम्
आपद्वैवस्वतं मनु
आपद्वैवस्वतं मनु
रूपं सा जाग्रे मत्स्यं
रूपं सा जागृहे मत्स्यं
चक्षुषोदादि संप्लवे
चक्षुषोदादिसम्प्लवे
नवि आरोप्य माहिमायं
नव्यमारोप्यमहिमयम्
आपाद वैवस्वतं मनु
आपादैवस्वतं मनु
रूपं सा जागृहे मत्स्यं
रूपं सा जागृहे मत्स्यं
चाक्षुषोदादिसम्प्लवे
चाक्षुषोदादिसम्प्लवे नाव्यारोपमहिमह्यम् आपादैवस्वतं मनु रूपं सा जागृते मत्स्यं चक्षुषोदादिसम्प्लवे नाव्यारोप्यमहिमह्यम् आपादैवस्वतं मनु
रूपम फॉर्म स ही जाग्रहे accepted मत्स्यम of a fish चक्षुषा उदादि water samplave inundation Navi on the boat Aropya keeping on Mahi the earth Mayam drowned in Apat protected Vaivasvatam Vaivasvata Manu the father of mankind. Translation, you can repeat the translation after me. When there was a complete inundation, after the period of the Chakshushu Manu, and the whole world was deep within the water, the Lord accepted the form of a fish and protected Vaivasvata Manu, keeping him on a boat. According to translation and purport by His Divine Grace, Abhay Charanaramindra Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, Jai Srila Prabhupada. According to Sripada Sridhara Swami, the original commentator on the Bhagavatam, there is not only a devastation after the change of every Manu, and yet this inundation after the period of Chakshusha Manu took place in order to show some wonders to Satyavrata. But Sri Jiva Goswami has given definite proofs from the authoritative scriptures like Vishwadharma Dharmottara, Markandeya Purana, Harivamsha, etc., that there is always a devastation after the end of each and every Manu. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti has also supported Srila Jiva Goswami, and he, Sri Chakravarti, has also quoted from Bhagavatamrita about this inundation after each Manu. Apart from this, the Lord, in order to show special favor to Satyavrata, a devotee of the Lord, in this particular period, incarnated himself. Om Ajnana-timirandasya Jnana-jana-shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam-yena Tasmai Shri-Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Mano-bhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam-rupa Kayam-kada-mahim Dadati Swa-padantikam Vandeham Shri-Gurum Shri-yuta-padakamalam Shri-Gurum Vaishnavamsya श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगण रघुनाथान्वितां तां सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं हरिजनसहितं कृष्ण चैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सहगण ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौरभक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। मुखं करोति वाचालां पङ्गुलङ्घयते गिरिं पादमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरुं दीनतारिणं परमानन्दमाधवं श्रीचैतन्यं। रूपं सा जाग्रहे मत्स्यं चक्षुषोदादि संप्लवे नव्य आरोप्य महिमय्यम आपद वैवस्वतं मनु. And there was a complete inundation after the period of the Chakshusha Manu, and the whole world was deep within the water. The Lord accepted the form of a fish and protected Vaivasvata Manu, keeping him on it. Hare Krishna. So welcome all everybody for this morning Srimad Bhagavatam class. So pray at the lotus feet of Shri Shri Kadalika Giridhari Srimad Mahaprabhu Lakshmi Narasimha Devananta Deva, the Guru Parampara, so that whatever I speak is for my own purification and for the benefit of all the devotees. Okay, so Rupam Sa Jagrahe Matsyam. The Lord took the form of a fish incarnation. So, Lord can take his birth among all the 8,400,000 species of life, not only one form. Here the special mention of this. Hare Krishna. Vidwan, separate class చేస్తున్నారు. Separate. Okay. So the Lord took the form of the fish incarnation. So when Satyavrata Maharaj he was performing his Sandhyavandana, so the Lord appeared in his palm. So when he took the water from the river, so the Lord appeared in his palm in the form of a small fish. Because a fish appeared in his palm, he tried to put back the fish again in water. So then the fish told him, so please don't put me back. So you can take me along with you. So the Lord took him. Satyavrata Maharaj, he took the Lord who was in the form of a fish to his house. Then he put it in a small vessel and he grew to the size of a vessel. So then the Lord thought, then the Maharaj thought, this vessel is not sufficient, let me put him in a pond. So when the Lord put him in a pond, he grew to the size of the pond. And the pond was also not sufficient. Then they put him in a river. The river was also not sufficient. Then they put him in the sea. Sea was also becoming small. So whatever the Lord does is beyond the conception of the individual individual. So the Lord's incarnations are all, Asamadurva. Asamadurva means, so nobody can imitate his incarnation, nobody can imitate his activities, and nobody can equal his activities. Asama means, sama means equal. Asama means not equal. Urdhva means nobody can equal him in his activities, or nobody can perform an activity greater than him. So therefore, whatever activities are performed by the Lord is for the benefit of the devotee. So whatever the Lord performs all these activities to show the world that So he is completely independent. Swarat. Swarat means the Lord is completely independent to do whatever he wants. So he does not have any control. Nobody can control the Lord. So we are we all controlled or we are independent?
We are controlled by God.
We are all controlled, right? So we are all controlled by the laws of materialism. So everybody in this material world is controlled. Nobody can say that I am not controlled. So when Prahlad Maharaj appeared, Hare Krishna. When Prahlad Maharaj was born, so he came to establish these two principles. The first principle is that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead and he wants to defeat all the bogus incarnations. So especially the 10 incarnations, what is specially mentioned in Bhagavatam, and in Bhagavatam we see that there is mention of 28 incarnations. So the Lord has unlimited incarnations, but these are considered the prominent incarnations. So, and amongst them the 10 incarnations are considered as the most prominent incarnations. So which most of the acharyas discuss about, these 10 incarnations. And one amongst those incarnations is the incarnation of the fish. So Matsyavatara. So Matsyavatara, so the Lord wanted to protect all the pious living entities, so he informed Satyavrata Muni that I am going to enter this, now there is going to be a deluge. Deluge in the sense? So the entire universe will be devastated with the water. So therefore you have to prepare yourself, so bring all the pious living entities. So all the belonging to all different species, they were all put together on one side. And a huge boat was sent so that all the living entities can board that boat. And the Lord can save that boat at the time of devastation. So this is a kind of devastation which takes place at the end of the cycle of every Manu. So every Manu has got 77 Chaturyugas to rule. This is called as Manvantara. So when we take 1 day of Brahma, so 1 day of Brahma has got 1000 Chaturyuga cycles. So and in 1 day of Brahma, 14 Manus appear. And this was the period of Chakshushu Manu. So the devastation took place at the time of Chakshushu Manu. So according to Vedic time calculation, the time does not go in cycles. The time does not go linear. So according to the modern history, time takes a linear projection. So we see time going linear. So we calculate everything in terms of the linear progression of time. So but according to Vedic system, we see everything goes on in cycles. Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Again Sunday. Okay, everything goes on in cycles. Similarly, we see the Chaturyugas also, they also go in cycles. Satya, Treta, Dwapara, Satya, Treta, Dwapara. Everything goes on in cycles. So therefore, so we cannot define anything in terms of chronology. So chronology is not so important. What is important is the pastime of the Lord which took place. So and it is discussed for our good. Though there is a discussion about the lineages and all that, but we have to understand that time goes on in cycles. Therefore, so at the end of Chakshushu Manu, there was a devastation, and this is supported by the acharyas like Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, Jiva Goswami. So they are also supporting this statement that at the end of every millennium, there will be a devastation. So therefore, we need to know that how this devastation takes place. So now what is the order of all these planetary systems? So how this whole Brahmanda is. So to understand the whole, we need to have a overall view. So unless you have an overall picture of the universe, it is very difficult for you to understand what is this devastation, how this devastation took place. Hare Krishna. Somebody should control the movement of this together. Moving. very frequently. So, okay. So, what were we discussing now? So we have to have an overall picture. We need to have the overall picture of the entire Brahmanda. So what is this Brahmanda? Where does it emanate from? So what is this material creation? You need to have the overall picture, or else you will not understand what it is. So whatever I speak will be like the Latin and Greek for you. So though I'm trying to explain it, you will not understand. So we have to understand where these Brahmandas are coming from. So they are all emanating from the body of Mahavishnu, who is lying on that causal ocean. So he is lying on that cloud of Mahatattva. So from the Mahatattva, all these different planetary, different Brahmandas, they are all emanating from the body of Mahavishnu. Anda means the shape of an egg. Okay, so everything is within the egg. So there are innumerable eggs or the Brahmandas which are all floating in the causal ocean. So where did this then Mahavishnu come from? So first Krishna came. Krishna's expansion is Balaram. Balaram's expansion is the Chaturvyuha expansion. We call the famous Chaturvyuha expansion. It's called Vasudeva, Sankarshana, Pradyumna, Aniruddha. And from the Sankarshana, again Lakshmi Narayana come. From again Lakshmi Narayana, we have this second quadruple expansion. It is called as Vasudeva, Sankarshana, Pradyumna, Aniruddha. The second Sankarshana is the cause of Mahavishnu. And from the body of Mahavishnu, all these innumerable universes are emanating. So that is how the entire material manifestation has come into being. It is not that the material manifestation has come into being just like that. It is. So even the so-called scientific world of today, they are trying to give a different description of how the entire universe has come into being. They have a different explanation. They explain, they attribute this to an explosion. It's called the Big Bang theory and the chemical evolution theory. So then the intelligent design theory. Intelligent design theory is something, so they attribute the cause to the Supreme Lord. So, but there are different theories like this, like how the whole manifestation came into being. It is completely misleading, taking God completely out of picture and giving chance as the cause. So everything happened by chance. Nothing happens by chance. So there is a brain behind everything. Right? So this material world is also coming from the Supreme Lord and it has been created for a purpose. So unless we understand all this, so this is called as bewilderment about the absolute truth. So this is called Tattva Vibhrama. If people don't have the proper understanding of the goal, then it's very difficult to move ahead. Okay? For example, if there is a thick fog and you want to board your flight from Delhi to Bangalore. So if there is a thick fog and the fog is not dissipating, so and you go and inquire in the reception. So when will the fog get dissipated? So when will the flight take off? They say maybe you can wait for 2 hours. So you again go back after 2 hours. So then you ask them again. So when will the flight take off? So they will say maybe 20 hours or 24 hours, we don't know. So unless the fog dissipates, then unless the sun comes on the horizon, it dissipates the fog. So there's no question of taking the flight. Okay, so unless the fog of confusion, so about the bewilderment about the tattva, so it's clear, we cannot go one step ahead in spirituality. So this is called as tattva vibhrama. So there's something called as swatattva vibhrama, paratattva vibhrama, sadhana vibhrama and sadhya vibhrama. So one should be very clear about this 4. One is called as paratattva vibhrama. What is paratattva vibhrama? Paratattva vibhrama is about who is the absolute truth. So who is the Supreme Personality of Godhead? So is there one God or there are multiple gods? Is there one controller or are there multiple controllers? So who is God? So why he is God? It is called as paratattva vibhrama. So therefore devotees, they don't have any confusion. They have everything clear. Who is Krishna? Even if you ask a child in ISKCON temple, they will tell you who is the absolute truth. Krishna is the absolute, right? Krishna is the supreme personality of God. There is no confusion. But when you go to other spiritual societies, they won't have any clarity about who is the absolute truth. Whether the absolute truth is a person, he is an imperson, whether he is you are God, I am God. So whether perfection is to become God, whether Guru is God. So all these different kinds of confusions about Paratattva Vibhrama, who is the absolute truth. So devotees in the Krishna consciousness movement, they do not have any confusion about the absolute. So this is called as Paratattva Vibhrama. The bewilderment is not there for a devotee, but whereas other spiritual organizations, spiritual societies, even though they are looking out for the absolute truth, so they do not have any confusion, they do not have a clarity about who is the absolute truth. But whereas the devotees of the Lord, they have a very perfect understanding of who is the absolute truth. And Prabhupada would always say, we know who is God, what is the address of God, so where does he reside, who is the father of God, who is the mother of God, everything is clear for us. There is no confusion, no ambiguity. It's called as Paratattva Vibhrama. Swatattva Vibhrama. Swatattva Vibhrama is a confusion about one's identity. So confusion about what is, whether I am this body or I am the spirit soul. Okay? So whether whatever bodily designation I am identifying with, whether I am that or whether I am the spirit soul, part and parcel of God. Or am I only the spirit soul, or I am a spirit soul, part and parcel of Krishna. Okay, or I am a part of the, like people have the confusion, Mayavadis, they always have this understanding that we are the part of the eternal Brahman. Okay, so this is called as the identity crisis. So Krishna has given us a clarity as to who we are. So the second chapter of Bhagavad Gita, Krishna is clearly explaining it to us. So who are you? Who are we? In the 15th chapter, 7th verse of Bhagavad Gita, in the second chapter, your identity as the soul is established. Is that true or not? Your identity as the soul is established in the second chapter of Bhagavad Gita. So then what is the relationship of the soul with the Supreme Personality of Godhead is clarified in the 15th chapter, 7th verse of Bhagavad Gita, where Krishna says, what does Krishna say? Mamaya jiva loke jiva bhuta sanatana. Manas sheshendriyani prakriti sthani karshati. You are all my part and parcels. So you are struggling in this material world, accepting this material body to be permanent, and you are struggling with the six senses, which includes the mind. Clarity is given. So everything is fine and clear. And in the 7th chapter, 4th and 5th verse of Bhagavad Gita also, Krishna gives this clarity. What is this material energy? What is this material world? And who are we? So what is the 7th chapter, 4th verse? It's clarity in everything what Krishna speaks, there is clarity, right? So this material energy constitutes of these 8 elements. And there is also another energy of mind, where Krishna says, Aparame mitistvamani prakriti midime param jiva bhuta mahabaho yayatam darayadaya. This jiva bhuta, they are trying to lord it over this material energy, right? They are trying to lord it over the material energy. And so what is this material energy? Bhumi rapo nalo vayu kava manobudhi. Okay, they are trying to lord it over this material energy. So there is 2 energies. One is the material energy of Krishna, and then we have the spiritual energy. So and we belong to the marginal potency, because we can come under the influence of Krishna's Maya Shakti, and we can also be in the spiritual world because our identity is spiritual. We are all spiritual by nature. Okay. So first point is that Swatattva Vibhrama. Swatattva Vibhrama means confusion about one's identity. Now Krishna has very clearly given us the clarity about what is our identity in the material world. And the Acharyas explained that Jivera Swarupa Hoy, Krishna. Our identity is that we are all part and parcel of Krishna. We are all servants of the Krishna. Okay. and our eternal constitutional position is to serve the Supreme Lord. Where does Krishna say this in Bhagavad Gita? Bhaktyamam abhijanate yavanachasmi tattvataha tato yat tattvato gnatva vishade tadanantaram. But Krishna is saying that only a devotee of only my devotee can understand me. Bhaktyamam abhijanate yavanachasmi tattvataha. Tattvataha means knowing me in truth. So only a devotee of the Lord can know me in truth. Okay. Tato yat tattvato gnatva. So one who understands this relationship between the Supreme Lord and myself, Supreme Lord and the living entity. Tato yat tattvato gnatva vishade tadanantaram. So then he will engage in his devotional service. Okay. So clarity is given as to who are we and what is our constitutional position in relationship with the Supreme Lord. This is called as clarity on Swatattva Vibrama. Okay? Vibrama means you get confused. But what is your identity is clarified by Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita. Then Paratattva Vibrama we have already discussed how Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Various references are given in the scriptures. This is called as Paratattva Vibrama. So the confusion about who is the Supreme Lord is clarified by Arjuna. Arjuna speaks. Anybody remembers this verse? Parabrahma, Parandama, Pavitram, Parvamam, Purusham, Shashvatam, Divyam, Adidevam, Majam, Vibhum. Aham, Hamtva, Rishya, Sarve, Devarshi, Narada, Sata, Asato, Devalavyaso, Swayamsheva, Bruvishme. So Arjuna is saying that, so my Lord, you are the Supreme Personality of Godhead. You are Parabrahma, Parandam, you are the abode of all the living entities. You are Pavitram, you are Paramam, Pavitram, Paramam, Bhavan. You are Purusham, you are the only Purusha. You are Shashvatam, you are eternal. You are Divyam, Purusham Shashvatam Divyam. Adidevam, you are the original seed-giving father of all the living entities. Ajam, you are unborn. Vibhum, you are unlimited. So, I am not saying this because Aham tu Rishya Sarve Devarishis Narada. I am not saying this because you are my friend. So, this has been vindicated. This has been authorized by all the demigods. So it has been authorized by the great authorities like Asita, Devala, Vyasa, Narada. They have all identified you. They have all recognized you as the absolute truth. Right? Asito, Devala, Swayamcheva Pravishime. Now you yourself are declaring this truth. So what more authority I want to accept you as the Supreme Personality of God? Here Arjuna is not sentimental. Arjuna is not accepting Krishna as the Supreme Personality of Godhead because he is his friend. Arjuna is accepting Krishna as the Supreme Personality of Godhead based on authority. So we are not blind followers. We should not be blind followers. So no blind following is accepted. Okay, so that will lead you nowhere. That will lead you nowhere. So therefore we need to have a clarity about the absolute truth. And Arjuna himself is declaring this. And Krishna himself declares this. Aham sarvasya prabhavo matta sarva pravartate iti matva bhajate mam buddhavava samhita. So there is no truth superior to Krishna. So everything emanates from Krishna. So whenever we accept something, our acceptance should not be like a herd. Just because few people are following it, just because a mass is following it. So it is not, Krishna is not declared as Supreme Personality of Godhead by popular vote. It's not like democracy. So where somebody is elected by popular vote. So we don't go by popular vote. We go by the statement of the authority. So this truth has been time and again confirmed by the great personalities. Swayambhu, Narada, Shambhu, Kaumara, Kapilo, Manu, Prahlada, Janako, Bhishmo, Balir, Vayasakya, Vayam. The 12 Mahajanas, 12 great personalities, so they have confirmed this truth about the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Okay, so there is no ambiguity in terms of accepting the absolute truth. Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So and Prahlad Maharaj came to establish this truth. Not by force, not by coercion, not by dominance. So can somebody establish the truth? Because all the statics were employed by Hiranyakashipu. Hiranyakashipu did everything under his power and control to emphasize this one particular point. You should not accept Krishna as the Supreme Personality. You should accept me. all the demigods, they were all trembling in fear of Hiranyakashipu. They could not openly establish. They were afraid. But one child, he was so very confident. So he was convinced about the absolute. You are not the supreme personality of God. He never accepted. All through his life, despite all kinds of coercive activities, trying to threaten him, trying to kill him, trying to throw him from the mountains, trying to trample him under the elephant's feet, trying to make him to be bitten by the serpents, entering the fire. No matter whatever you do, imagine a child of 5 years old, and he is completely convinced about the absolute. Why Prahlad Maharaj's story is so important for us? Because this conviction and this faith is what we have to learn. In our course of Krishna consciousness, when we come to the association of devotees, so what are we trying to learn? We are trying to learn this conviction. We are trying to learn the deeper aspect of faith. So how are we going to establish our faith in the process of Krishna consciousness? Okay? So therefore this confusion people should not have, as to there should not be an identity crisis. There should not be an identity, there should not be a crisis into understanding of who is the absolute truth. It's called as Swatattva Vibhrama, Paratattva Vibhrama. Then there is something called Sadhana Vibhrama, Sadhya Vibhrama. What is Sadhana Vibhrama? So now I know Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Now I know my identity as the servant of the Supreme Lord. Now by what process I can understand Him? What is the process? So some people say that you just meditate. So when somebody comes to you, when usually people in search of truth and they go to different spiritual organizations. So they may have this point, they may have this problem about how to reach Him. What is the process? So when one of our devotees, he was in the search of the absolute truth, he was in the pursuit of a spiritual quest. So he went to an organization and they told him to meditate on the concentric circles. So and he was trying to meditate on the concentric circles, and he told that when I was trying to meditate, I was getting headache. Okay? So one should know what is the process. What is the process? The process is given by the Acharyas in the Gaudiya Vaishnava Sampradaya, in our Sampradaya, and in the scriptures. So scriptures are very vast, and we have very difficult to ascertain. And time and again, this truth is established by the Mahajanas and the Acharyas in the Parampara. They give you the process. So the process is to chant the holy names of Krishna. So especially for the age of Kali Yuga, what is the process? Hare Nama, Hare Nama, Hare Namaiva Kevalam, Kalau Nasteva, Nasteva, Nasteva Nitya. So what is the process? The process is to chant the holy names of the Lord. And in Kalisantana Upanishad it is said that, what is the Kalisantana Upanishad saying?
Bhavaushana.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Iti Shodaka Namnam Kali Kalmasha Nashanam Nato Paratropaya Sarvavedeshu. Kali Kalmasha Nashanam. So all the ill effects of the age of the Kali Yuga are eradicated by the process of chanting the holy names of the Lord. This is called as Sadhana Vikrama. There is no confusion about the process. One has to chant the holy names of the Lord and his life will become perfect. Shraddha Shabda Kahe Sudrida Nishchay Krishna Bhakti Kaile Sarva Karma Krita Hoy. So one should have a firm faith in the process that by taking to the path of Krishna consciousness, I will attain Krishna. I will attain Krishna Prema. So this is the goal of a devotee. So one is the process and one is the goal. What is the goal?
Go back to God.
What is the goal? People should not have confusion about the goal.
Back to
People may have think that I will get merged into the impersonal Brahman. So the whole purpose of chanting Hare Krishna is to become Krishna. People have this confusion. There was one devotee called as Ramdas Vipra. So he was accompanying Raghunath Bhatta Goswami, Raghunatha Dasa Goswami. So all through he was performing so many services for Raghunatha Dasa Goswami, and they were walking towards Puri to meet Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, so Hare Krishna, you're all getting the point? So both friends, one is Raghunath Goswami and Ramdas Vipra. So they are walking towards Jagannath Puri, and both of them have a very cordial relationship. So they are talking to each other, and Ramdas Vipra is trying to serve Raghunath Goswami, and all through his way he is chanting names of Lord Rama, 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 Rama. He is chanting all through. Who is chanting? Ramdas Vipra. So, and Raghunath Bhatta Goswami became firmly convinced he is a very great devotee. A very nice devotee. He is serving me. So he is trying to chant the holy names of the Lord all through. So then finally they came to meet Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu embraced Raghunatha Dasa Goswami, but he did not even look at this Ramdas Vipra. Why? He was a devotee, no? He was chanting all through. Why? Why he did not even look at it? Look at him.
We can make through Guru only. That's
No?
right.
Because Ramdas Vipra was thinking that I'm chanting Lord Rama's name to become Lord Ram. Getting the point?
Yes, yes.
This is called as Sadhya Vipra. One is bewildered about the goal. So what is the goal of chanting Hare Krishna?
To associate ourselves with the Krishna and go back to the God.
Always remember Krishna, never forget.
Yeah, that is one goal. So what is the purpose of?
Go back to Godhead.
Surrendering.
So to become the devotee of the Lord, okay, and to serve in that relationship. Serve Krishna is my eternal master, I am his eternal servant. Okay, this is the constitutional position of the Jiva and the Supreme Lord. The constitutional position of the Supreme Lord is that he is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the absolute truth, and I am his eternal servant. Okay. So this is the constitutional position of the Jiva in the material world. Okay. This we should be convinced of. And my purpose is to establish my eternal relationship with Krishna and go back to Krishna. What is the goal? Goal is to go back home, back to God. This is the goal of Krishna. There is no other goal. What is the goal of the devotee?
Establish a connection.
Sadhana.
Go back.
And go back to
Godhead.
God. That is our goal. Though we may have life here, this life is temporary, but this temporary life is giving you a wonderful opportunity to re-establish our connection with Krishna and go back to Him. Okay. So this is called as the four Vibramas we should overcome. Swatattva Vibrama, Paratattva Vibrama, Sadhana Vibrama, Sadhya Vibrama. So when this is clear to you, then you can walk the path. Then you are confidently walking the path. Right? Huh? Sadhya means goal. Whether I should enter the impersonal Brahman. So sometimes, see, we are discussing only about the devotees here. There are many transcendentalists, so who want to attain the impersonal truth, impersonal absolute. They think that God, they are not interested in the personal features of Krishna. They are not interested in Krishna. So Krishna with all his wonderful features. So they are not appreciative of his personality. They are not appreciative of his form, name, pastimes, qualities. So they are interested in only one thing. So God does not have any form, features, pastimes, qualities. We are interested only in the impersonal feature of the Lord, and we want to enter the impersonal feature of the Lord. See, some people have the understanding, because I am not able to see God, God does not have any feature. God does not have a personality. He does not have a fame, name, pastimes, glories, attributes. So, therefore, I believe in whatever I can see. I believe God as an impersonal absolute. So, for such kind of people, the Lord also appear as the impersonal absolute. So such people, Krishna gives a process. You can follow the process and attain me as in my impersonal feature. This is also mercy of the Lord. Somebody wants to reciprocate with the Lord in an impersonal form. The Lord is giving an opportunity. So you want to worship me in my impersonal form? So then follow the process and attain my impersonal form. This is also mercy of Krishna. Somebody wants to reciprocate with the Lord as a person, which is the highest form of worship. Krishna is giving opportunity to his devotees. We see all the pastimes in Vrindavan is all about Krishna's dealing with his devotees. Is that true? So, ya yena mam prapadyate tam tateva bhajamya. So, whomever wants to see Krishna in whatever form, Krishna will reciprocate in that particular form. Right? And for atheists, people who do not want to believe in Krishna, Krishna appears to them in the form of death. So death is another form of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So for people who do not have any idea about God, God comes in the form of death. Right? So then for devotees who want to have different kinds of relationship, somebody wants to be a cow of Krishna. Somebody wants to be a calf of Krishna. So Goloka Vrindavan gives an opportunity to serve the Lord in Shantarasa. Somebody wants to do menial service to the Lord. Like Hanuman. Hanuman wants to serve the Lord in Dasyarasa. So the Lord is giving an opportunity to serve in Dasyarasa. Then Arjuna wants to serve the Lord in Sankhya-rasa, in friendship. So the opportunity is there. Somebody wants to serve the Lord as a parent. Yashoda Maya, Nanda Maharaj. So they are all giving an opportunity. They are all given an opportunity. And somebody wants to worship the Lord as a lover. So they are given an opportunity. Gopis of Vrindavan, they are given an opportunity to serve the Lord in that rasa. So therefore, ya yena mam prapadyate tam tateva bhajamya. Right? Like Hiranyakashipu, Ravana, they all wanted to show that we are supreme. And Krishna, in the form of death, appeared before them and showed who is supreme. Right? And for the atheists, Krishna appears in the form of death. Right? Ya yena mam prapadyate tam tateva bhajamya. So this is called as different kinds of vibramas or bewilderments, which one has to overcome to walk the path of devotion. Unless you are clear about these different kinds of vibramas, so one cannot progress on the path of bhakti. Why we are discussing all these points? So you should know what you are doing, why you are doing, what you are doing. Is that true?
Yes.
Or you want to blindly follow something? Because some people are following, we follow. Okay. So sadhana vibrama. So some people want to, some people worship the Lord to extract something from the Lord. They have mixed desires. So they want to obtain things of sense gratification from the Lord. So Krishna is very kind. He will give also. You go to Balaji, he will give you. Whatever you desire, he will give you. But he will not give you bhakti. Unless you desire for it. Right? Sadhana. What is the sadhana? What is the sadhana for? They take hostage, they do mandala puja, they walk from Bangalore to Tirupati. So they want to go have darshan of the Lord. So they do mandala puja and all that. Why?
Desire fulfill desire.
So they may be doing it to fulfill some material desire. They want to ask something from the Lord. They want to get something from the Lord. So people who have such desires and who worship the Lord, Lord will reciprocate with them. But He is not happy with them. Getting the point? So because they are doing it with a purpose, they are doing it with an intention to get something from the Lord. So they are all mixed devotees who have material desires and who worship the Lord for material desires. But Krishna says that I am not angry with them. Chaturvida Bhajantevam, Krishna says, 4 kinds of people I accept. 4 kinds of people can come to me. चतुर्विधा भजन्ते माम जनसुखीर्षुन अर्जुन आत्म अर्थार्थि जिज्ञासु ज्ञानी च भरतार्षु. People who are in distress, people who are in want of money, people who are really inquisitive about the Lord, who are looking out for knowledge. Krishna says, welcome. I welcome everybody. But I am not very pleased. So if people are looking out for some material benefit, they want to get out, they want to extract something out of Krishna, Krishna is not happy. Right? Because that is not the goal. He is providing everything. Sometimes, people think this material world is all in all, and staying in the material world and enjoying in the material world is all in all. So they make plans for enjoying in this material. When you make plans for enjoying in this material world, Lord is not very happy. Because Krishna has already declared that this material world is Dukkale Vashashvati. So we cannot be happy in this material. This material world has a purpose. What is the purpose of this material world?
Identify we are not body, soul, and well established. Our connection with Krishna.
What is the purpose of this material world?
Self gratification.
Sense gratification. So we are all looking out for sense gratification. So Lord has provided us an opportunity for sense gratification. At the same time, we should rectify our tendency, that attitude for sense gratification, and convert that attitude of sense gratification to servitude for Krishna. What is spiritual life? Material life is all about gratifying the senses for sense gratification. And spiritual life is trying to transform this gratification into service for Krishna. Okay? So only by serving Krishna, a devotee can be happy. How we can be happy? Only by serving Krishna. So a devotee should be convinced about this goal. So this is called as sadhana vibrama. So what are we trying to look out from the Lord? What are we trying to look out from Krishna? So there is one story of one devotee called as Puresha. He was a very great devotee of Lord Ranganatha. He was in the Sri Ramanujacharya Sampradaya. So this Puresha, so along with his wife, he gave up everything, whatever riches he had. So he wanted to lead a life of a ascetic, a sadhu. So both husband and wife, they renounced everything, they gave everything for the service of the Lord, and they went to Srirangam to serve the Lord. So, and he adopted the profession of begging. Profession of begging is allowed from the Brahmanas. So every day he used to go beg. If they get something, they would cook, and every day they would serve the Lord. If they don't get, that's also fine. One day it so happened that it was raining so heavily that he could not go out for begging. So, and he was feeling so hungry, he was suffering from hunger pangs, that he put his stomach on the floor because the stomach is burning. So his wife saw his situation, and she wanted some relief for her husband. So she prayed to Lord Ranganath. So if we can get some prasadam from Lord Ranganath, it would be so nice. Okay. And even in the midst of all that rain, the Utsava Murti, they bring the Lord on the Pallaki. You know this? So 322 festivals are celebrated in Srirangam in a year. So they bring the Lord on the palanquin. The Lord is brought out. So prasadam is served to the Lord, and the prasadam is distributed. Okay. The Lord came on his palanquin. The prasadam was offered to, the bhoga was offered to the Lord, and they gave a plate of prasadam was brought to the house of Puresha. And his wife was given that plate of prasadam. Please accept this prasadam. So the Lord has instructed me to give this to you. So then Puresha gets a doubt. So where did this prasadam come from? I did not pray to the Lord for prasadam. Then he inquired from his wife, did you ask the Lord? Did you pray to the Lord for prasadam? Then the wife told, yes, because I could not see you, suffering from hunger pangs. So I prayed to him. So kindly forgive me, she said. So prasadam, he took some prasadam. He took little prasadam and gave the rest. So he told his wife, see, we came all the way from Kanchipuram to Srirangam, not to take service from Krishna. Why we have come here? We have come here to serve Krishna. So therefore I did not ask him for prasad. I did not ask him to maintain me. Okay, so a devotee, see the mood of a devotee to serve Krishna. Okay? This is sadhya. They know the goal. What is the goal? The pure devotees, they have a clarity of the goal. We are not supposed to demand anything from Krishna. We are not supposed to ask anything from Krishna. We are duty bound to serve Krishna. When a devotee comes to the temple, he does not ask Krishna, what I want from you. He does not ask Krishna, he does not come with a list. Dhanam dehi, sundarim dehi. So I want a house, I want a bungalow, I want a car. He does not have all these demands. He comes to Krishna and asks him, how I can serve you. What is the mood of a devotee?
How I can serve.
A devotee has only one desire, how I can serve. The devotee should be satisfied with only one thing, how I can serve. This is the mood of it. They don't have any material. How I can serve. Once there was one devotee, Anantalvar. So he used to perform Pushpa Kaikaryam for the Lord. Pushpa Kaikaryam means offering flowers to Lord Balaji. He had created a beautiful garden for Balaji, because those days you will not get flowers just like we get flowers. There is no transportation. There you have to grow flowers and offer flowers to Balaji. Okay. So he had prepared a huge garden. He had dug up a huge lake. So along with his wife, and he was maintaining that garden, and whatever flowers would come out of the plants, he would offer it to the Lord. So one day he was plucking flowers in the garden, and one cobra bit him, and one of his disciples saw him. So then he told all the other disciples, the Guru Maharaj is being bitten by the serpent, what should we do now? They all went and prayed to Balaji. So my dear Lord, our spiritual master is bitten by the serpent, please save him. So then they were all requesting, Guru Maharaj, you please request the Lord to save you. So then Anantalvar, he finally goes to Balaji, and Balaji asks him, why you did not pray? So he offers the garland to Balaji, and he asks, why you did not pray for your life? So what is there? So if I am bitten by a serpent, so what he spoke is really interesting. He said that I am more poisonous than the serpent. So actually, if I am more poisonous than the serpent should die. So, and if the serpent's poison is more powerful than my poison, I will die. Okay. So then, what is there to ask for me, my Lord? I am serving you here. Even if I die, I'll go back to Vaikuntha and serve you. It makes no difference to me. Therefore, when the devotee becomes complete, when his life becomes completely spiritualized, whether he stays in the material world or whether he go back to Vaikuntha, he is doing the same thing. He is serving the Lord. Because he has understood his constitutional position as the servant of the Lord. This is called as sadhya. One should be clear about one's goal. Okay? Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. My duty is to serve. Even to this day, when you go to Tirupati Balaji temple, you will find a crowbar hanging in the entrance of the door. So that is the crowbar which was used by Anantalvar to dig that lake. It's called Ananta Sarovar. When you go in the queue to have the darshan of Lord Balaji, you find that lake. It's called Ananta Sarovar. So there you can find the lake which was dug by Anantalvar using the same crowbar. Because the Lord was interfering in his service as a small boy, he threw the crowbar at the Lord and it hurt the chin of Balaji. So to commemorate the remembrance that whenever, why the Lord is having this white mark on the chin, you know that? One second. Because this was done by Anantarva. It's not because the Lord is hurt. Because anybody who comes to have his darshan, when they see his chin, they should remember Anantarva. So just like the Lord wants to glorify his devotee, literally the devotee wants to glorify the Lord also wants to glorify his devotee. Understood? So that's the reason the Lord is having this mark. Okay. So sadhya, clarity about the goal. When we see the life of the devotee, they have clarity on the goal. Okay. They don't have any bewilderment. They don't have any other intentions of serving Krishna. They don't have any material desires to ask for from the Lord. They don't want to beg anything from the Lord. They don't want to get anything from the Lord. They don't want to have any business with Lord. When Prahlad Maharaj, Narasimhadev appeared before Prahlad Maharaj. Narasimhadev gave him so many benedictions. You take whatever you want from me. But what Prahlad Maharaj said, I am not a businessman. I did not come to do business with you. So we should not come to Lord to do business. My Lord, you be satisfied in your position as the master. I will be satisfied in my position as a servant. This is the relationship I want. My duty is to serve you. I will serve you. And the master, he is telling Narasimhadev, he is putting Narasimhadev to embarrassment. He is saying, a master should not allure his servants to ask any benedictions. Because I have seen what has happened to my father. He was controlling all the 14 planetary systems. In one moment he was finished. I don't want such thing. I want something eternal. I want your association of devotees so that I can always serve you. So the Lord told him, it is my order that you should become the king after your father and rule. So what did Prahlad Maharaj do? He did not have any knowledge about how to rule the kingdom. So he came all the way from there to Melkote, and he took guidance from a Brahmana. He studied Rajaniti under him. So therefore, on the top of Melkote, when you go there, you find Yogananda Narasimha. He is sitting in a yoga posture. So to give this knowledge to Prahlad. Understood? So this Bhagavatam gives you clarity about who is God, who are we, what is our relationship with Him, and how the great devotees have served the Lord with full clarity. So Bhagavatam is meant to give you clarity on what is the goal, what is the purpose of life, what is the goal of life. Okay? This is called as sadhana. This is called as sambandha, abhideya, prayojana. Sambandha, who is God, who am I, what is my relationship with Him. It's called as sambandha. Abhideya means what is the process of attaining Him. So Prahlad Maharaj also speaks about the process of Navavidha Bhakti. Shravanam, Kirtan, Vishnu Smaranam, Pada Sevanam, Archanam, Vandanam, Dasyam, Sakyam, Atmanivedam. 9 process to attain Him is called as Abhideya, Prayojana. Prayojana is to reach the abode of the Lord and remain with Him eternally and serve Him. Okay. So the same goal can be achieved even within this life. We can be serving the Lord, and after we give up this body, we will go back to Krishna and serve Him. Sadhya is clear. No ambiguity, no confusion. Right? Yatra Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Jagati Vishnu Prabhupada ki jai. So we were discussing about, 5 minutes I'll take. We were discussing about the inundation of the planetary system. 7 planetary systems above, 7 planetary systems above. Below the material world. Okay. So this is the structure of the universe. Okay, there are 7 planetary systems above. It's called as Svargaloka, Janaloka, Tapoloka. All places of sense enjoyment. And we have Atala, Vitala, Sutala below this material plate. It's called Bhu Mandala. It's in the form of a plate, Mandala. So, and we are positioned in Jambudvipa. This is the only place within the entire universe where an opportunity is given to the Jiva to perform Bhakti and go back to Krishna. Therefore, why Bharatavarsha is so very special even within the entire Brahmanda, is because this is the only place which gives you an opportunity to perform bhakti. No other place. That's the reason this place is very, very special. And but in the due course of time, as we were discussing about different Manus, so the devastation happened at the time of Chakshushu Manu, and Vaivasvata Manu, who was the next Manu of the next Manvantara, the Lord protected him in the boat, in the avatar of Matsya. So that is what Rupam Sa Jagrahe Matsyam Chakshushodadi Saplave Nave Aropya Mehi Mayam Apar Vaivasvata Manu. So he carried Manu, who was the Manu of the next Manvantara, in this boat. Hare Krishna. These are the thoughts for today from Srimad Bhagavatam. Granthra Srimad Bhagavatam ki Jai. Jagadguru Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. So anybody has any doubts, questions?